just found a fun and easy way to make money beating other players in Rocket League. Game Wagers is this new app where you play your favorite online game and you could challenge your friends or other players to a 1v1 wager. The Game Wagers app acts like a digital referee. Not only does the app keep track of the winner and the loser of each match, it verifies the winner of each 1v1 wager. That means the winner gets paid and the loser gets good. No more live streams needed, no more VODs required. Let the app worry about all that, and you could focus on beating your opponent and making some money. Sign up at GameWagers.com, download the Overwolf app, link your PayPal account, and start making money.
I'm going to just do the intro again. If you're watching on X Live, where we're streaming for the first time, I was muted as we were going. But welcome to the Bucket and Hoosier Show. Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, whenever you're listening to this, whether on Spotify or Apple. As always, I am Mr. Hoosier, and the gentleman joining me is the lovely Bucket. And we always like to start with Bucket. How are you doing, buddy?
Yeah, I'm lovely. And so are you, man. I'm well. I am glad to start to get a routine back, and I'm feeling all kinds of feels about what has transpired in the last 2 weeks since we did our preseason episode when there was no news, and now we're getting news.
Oh,
and
we're getting news.
Still lack of news. So
yeah.
I'm feeling indifferent. We'll go with that. How are you feeling?
I'm doing good. It's been hard to watch the Twitters the last couple of days just with things that have come out. But we are starting to get a better picture of what RLCS is going to be this season. And it is, I don't think it's what anybody thought it would be. And it's definitely going to be a year of, I don't know. It's going to be, it feels like we're starting over almost, from everything that was built to what is planned. And obviously, starting with the biggest news that came out, they did finally release what the format is going to look like and when it is going to start. So this week they came out saying that, here is the format, and it's starting later this month. Started Open Qualifier 1 on January 26th. And I think you're supposed to be able to start registering your teams tomorrow, if I'm not mistaken. But here's what it will be. So there are going to be 2 majors and then the championship, and everything is going to be an open qualifier. Starting, first off. So open qualifier 1, 2, 3 major, transfer window, open qualifier 4, 5, 6, and then a major. And I think I'll get to that because Jesu had sent me something that was kind of bonkers to think about. But Major 1 and Major 2, they're gonna follow the same type of format. So the first open qualifier, double elimination, into a Swiss stage, and then into a single elimination. Which, that goes over 3 weeks. Oh no, really 2 weeks. Hang on. So it'll be 2 weeks of a weekend of the double elimination, so 26th to the 28th, and then the following week will be the Swiss stage in 1 day, which would be February 2nd, and then single elimination stage February 3rd and 4th, and each qualifier is going to follow the same path and through to each major. So, but the wild part is that it's every single one of them is open. Like, we don't actually cut off and make it tougher for people to join, nor do you actually make it, you have your spot moving forward, which is, I don't know, kind of wonky if you're an org. I would think that if you're an org, you really don't want have any interest in that, because what if you come across some cracked out 13-year-olds that just get hot one day and now your big org is taken out? It's definitely away from the league format like we thought it was going to be, that would actually draw orgs in and make them want to hang out and actually be a part of whatever this was going to be. But I think the nice part is
that's the draw, though.
What's the draw?
Still, the openness of it. People still there's still not that league formatting, right? So let the best players who are playing the best game at that point win and get there. I think that's what they're trying to still keep fresh. I don't know if it's the best, but that's what it appears to be.
I would agree if I would think that was their logic at all, but I think their logic is just it's easier, I would guess, money wise or just simplicity at its best. That just set this standard, set it up this way, and just keep running it that way until there's no more 13, 15-year-olds to play. To me, it's not even.
I mean, just read the first sentence, right? Like of their announcement post, the official one. Streamlining the format. First up is the RLCS format, which is getting a new coat of paint for 2024. A new coat of paint. Not a new engine, not an overhaul, not a whole new body, a new coat of paint. Woo. Everyone is expecting a little bit more than that, right? Then we're increasing open competition. Like that's their focus. They're focusing on that. And then they also go on to say focusing on long-term sustainability and widening prizes for more players than ever before. So widening the worldwide, right? Like they added the region and they kind of mixed around who gets spots. So they had a plan and they executed it. Is it the right plan?
I think it's putting lipstick on a pig at this point. Okay. I don't, it feels like, as far as the community goes, that there's no faith in what the product was. Or maybe it's just, or at the end of the day, was it just everything that they did it all come out in the negative and nothing was profitable off of it? That's what I like. That's what I would rather them say. Hey, the way it has been ran the past 2 years is not profitable. We can't sustain that. So especially
it all comes down to money, and you think that these fixes they believe are gonna change that?
I think they're just gonna be able to keep it going. I don't think it's not looking for a change. It's just keep it going, keep the masses happy for now with just some competitive play, and let's just keep moving it forward. Especially when you get to the point of that they were widening the pricing distribution significantly. Each Open Qualifier will now award the top 128 teams cash prizes in both North America and Europe. So if you finish 128th, you're getting something. Now, we don't know what that something is. A pat on the back. Do you want some in-game currency? But something.
Imagine.
That's what I'm waiting to hear.
The prize pool was in-game currency.
Right, I'm waiting to hear that. That a majority of your prize winnings will be in-game currency. At this point,
all of the prizes. We're giving away $5 million.
Yeah,
in skins.
In skins. Yeah, you get in-game currency now. That's what I'm waiting to hear. Each open And then each Open Qualifier now award the top 64 team cash prizes in South America, Oceania, and MENA, and the top 32 in APAC and SSA. And I think I saw someone talking about that SSA couldn't even field 32 teams in their Open Qualifiers. If I remember seeing something like that.
Well, let's go back a little bit. So back all the way to what I was saying in the first paragraph, and then the
how they're putting lipstick on a pig.
Season, we'll have 3 in-person tournaments, right? The major, then the Worlds. To qualify, there's going to be open tournaments. We talked about that. Now, what they did was they standardized each of those, right? Remember, it used to be each split was based on a type of tournament.
Yes.
Like one was double elimination tournaments, one was Swiss formats. And now it's going to be standard, all 3 of them. Right? So it's going to be an open double elimination bracket to determine the top 16 teams, 16-team Swiss system to determine the top 8, and then an 8-team single elimination bracket.
So you're still doing the same thing. Instead of doing it across 3 splits, now you're going to squeeze all of it into one qualifier.
I like this change.
Okay.
I don't know if this is the best. We've been touting this for a while. What is the best format, or does everyone have a different one? Why do they have this versus that? And now they've determined that this format with this many teams makes the most sense. Let's see if they're right, because I'm a fan of every one of them being the same. I think it makes the most sense, and it's going to go a long way in the readability of what's going on, or the understanding for new viewers.
Okay.
Right? People who aren't so into it, or aren't the hardcore fans that we know, that know like what's going on and can keep up with everything. They can come in and understand what's going on. That's what they need to get to.
So
they'll get more viewership.
I will agree with that. I will give you that. But then let's throw the negative back at it. Everybody competes in the same weekend. All the regions.
Yeah, that sucks.
So I agree, like, okay, standardize. All right? So
that doesn't make a lot of sense, but I think that having it all the same each time is interesting. That's so far the only thing that stands out to me as a possible good thing. Like, we won't know till we get into it. But
yeah,
to me, out of all the things we just talked about, right, that actually could be cool. So now you're saying all the regions play on the same weekend?
Correct.
Week in and week out?
Correct.
Dumb.
There's no
dumb.
This is NA weekend and then EU weekend. It's all everybody in the same weekend, which I can, if we're going with a negative and trying to find a positive, right? The positive to that negative is that the schedule is shorter, right? It's not, you're not having to double up your time to get through everything. So I can see that if we're looking to give players time off in the off season. But at the same time, yeah, if you're someone trying to keep up with it, that's a lot of information to digest in a single weekend. It's going to be all over the place. You cannot keep up with all of those games, especially if your currency, or what makes you valuable, is your viewership. Your viewership numbers are gonna drop, which I made, not doing my research. I didn't make a very good assumption on that, which was saying that the Fortnite Cup has no viewership. Well, I went and looked, and it actually does have a crap ton of viewership. They just don't advertise it very well. They don't put it out there. You have to, if you know, you know. It's that, which that was always our argument with RLCS, is that we wanted to get to something that's not a, if you know, you know. It's a trying to actually build out something, and it seems like it's going back to that.
That's right. I mean, we've been saying it for years. There needs to be more thought on expanding the viewership.
Yeah, if you're trying to draw the casual fans, this is not the way. It's not at all. Because now, and especially if you're doing, and this is where I think open formatting, while it's fun to watch for the tryhards, because we enjoy when we see a no-name that you've never heard of, just pop off, and this team start making this ridiculous run. You're not going to grab any casual fans to watch that, and it's going to come down to is if Blast is just the tournament organizers, then it's going to come down to Epic to actually support and put that information out there. Like, look at these kids. They're making a ridiculous run right now. But as we've seen with a lot of communication here in recent times, that looks to be non-existent. So
each of these open qualifiers, like January 26th.
Yeah, you going to try again? Didn't you make top 128?
Is legitimately all regions at the same time.
Yes.
In that weekend.
Yes.
Did I tell you that that's dumb?
Yes, you said that's dumb.
Because that's dumb.
It's very dumb.
Doesn't even make sense.
But back to my question: are you gonna try again? Because you made Pop 128 one time, didn't you?
I don't have any time.
We had you and
too
Jsu.
many good players. We could have some fun if we wanted to, but it's no way.
There's cash up for grabs.
There's no.
You can get your in-game currency.
If I had any amount of time to spend to prepare.
Yeah, what's the legalese on cash prizes? Like,
what's the? I mean, you didn't even say get to the minimum age yet, right?
Well, we already talked about
minimum age
that.
is also
it's 13.
changed to 13.
Yeah,
but what's the maximum?
There is no maximum age.
What's the maximum? No, I'm just kidding. What do you mean? What's the legalese on cash prizes?
Like, if you hear cash prize, right? That could be turned into anything. And I think I'm stuck on that right now, as that you could, in legalese terms, you could spin cash prizes into in-game currency because it has to come from a cash flow to get that. I'm just really trying to spin up the narrative that, like, teams 150 and below are going to get in-game currency and not going to actually get a payout, because I can't see them actually paying out that many people when it comes to actual forms of cash.
Global prize pool. I mean, the world
and
is
that's
probably
down.
What, 2 of it? Right? Like probably $2 million of the prize pool is in the worlds. And then the other $1 million split between the 2 regions. I mean, the 2 majors.
Yeah, it's not going up like it had in the past. I think we actually went. I wish I could go find that tweet, but there was one that showed that we went, I believe, down. Riley.
Yeah, man, I don't really know what to.
Oh, here it is. Yeah, season 1, the prize pool was $75,000. Season 2, $251,000. Season 3, $300,000. Season 4, $350,000, and then we go up. We get to the millions in season 6. Season 9, $1,009,000. Season X, $4.5 million. And then the last 2021 to 2022, it was $6 million. And then when it went up 100,000, and now we've gone from 6,100,000 down to 4,300,000. So, yeah, the money's just not there. I think that's the writing on the wall for everybody. I know everybody is up in arms, and I'm upset too. But yeah, I think we just got told what we had speculated, was that the money ain't there. You got to turn a profit if you want to be able to keep this stuff going. So,
yeah, you might be right.
But yes, so now the age now is 13 years. 13 years old to compete. And I had put out a tweet, and someone said that they didn't think that this would be a problem, but I could see it being a problem coming up if some random team gets a run. Excuse me. Says parent or guardian permission will continue to be required for all minors to compete. And if you're running a straight open tournament that anybody can sign up for, watch one team get through, and then that team can't show up because their parent won't attend with them because they can't afford it and didn't realize this is what their kid was doing. I mean, it's right up there with the whole visa problem that we always end up seeing. So,
okay.
And coaches and managers.
Think the age thing is going to become a problem.
Yeah, I could see at least one or two
we
teams
need to
that
write down
being an
some
issue.
of these predictions right here. I don't even know where we do that at.
Clip
I
it.
have a notebook somewhere. I need to write out some of these predictions. Let's
big
start
thing
at the top
too,
real quick.
and this could have
Yeah.
had affected like Wi-Fi, who's in our chat. Wi-Fi, thank you. Glad you're here.
Wi-Fi?
But coaches and managers must be at least 18 years old. So think of all like the managers that came up now, or coaches, and they wouldn't have been of legal age. So you're gonna allow.
What a weird update.
I find that weird in that you can be 13 to compete, but you have to be 18 to be a manager or a coach. But it's an open tournament. So it's not a league, it's not anything that's fully structured, but yeah, we're gonna put that age restriction on there. I don't see where that.
I mean, they have to. They have to make the rules somewhere. They have to give it some sort of.
Why does it
like a 6-year-old?
Why isn't that 13? You can compete at 13, but you can't coach at 13?
It's possible.
You're just saying it's possible. Just say it's possible.
That's right. I don't have any reasoning behind that one.
I don't either. Like it doesn't make sense.
It just like out of nowhere. It seems like so. Obviously, there was a reason for. Like I don't know what it is, but
the only thing I could see is so that if you had like a team of 13-year-olds that qualify, they can't just say, "Oh yeah, this 13-year-old, our buddy, he's our coach and manager," and then that person tags along. But at the same time, why couldn't you do that?
No.
Like you don't know. That person might be giving them great insight. The nice part is we do only have one transfer window this year, so only one time to make trades. But I didn't see anything that there. I guess the rule book isn't out yet. I remember seeing someone tweet about that because we don't have any clarification on what does transfer window mean now. Does 2/3 of the roster have to stay together to keep your points? Like what is? I'm guessing that rule is still in effect.
They'll just make it up as they go along.
That's what it honestly feels like.
Yeah.
So, but all in all, that's what the new format looks like. And I don't think not a lot of people are very excited. I remember, what did Jesu told me? What did he tell me? It was
Coach Jesu?
Coach Jesu.
You know him?
I do know him. I forget where he said it at, but basically, like, another wild part of all this is if you don't make it into Worlds, then your last weekend of play would be the end of May. So we have 5 months. Like, if you didn't make it into the second major, sorry, your season would be done at the end of May, and then
don't suck.
May to January. It shows the fact that the way that they're looking at this, in my opinion, as I'm reading this, since they don't communicate anything, they don't want this to be a career for people and ride on the back of Rocket League. It's not. They don't see it as being any type of actual career.
That's interesting.
Where you're actually competing.
I still can't wrap my head around the 2-month plus between Major 2 and the World Championships. Like that.
Yeah, June to
my brain
September.
to think about. But you don't even know. It could be June 3rd and then September 28th. Like it could be more like 3 months.
Well, heck, if we're going off of that, if you look at the last qualifier, Open Qualifier 6, the elimination stage is May 25th to 26th. It's Memorial Day weekend. And then I would say you got to put in travel. So I would say like this third week of June, like the week of the 21st is when the major would be. And so then, you got all of July, August.
Yeah, it's 9 weeks.
Sometime in September.
It's insane.
It makes no sense. I will be interested to see how does Epic package this and keep it like in the minds of people and keep it fresh. Because at this point, they're doing the same thing that Psyonix did. Everything is built on the back of content creators and people who are just playing the game. Anybody who's out there trying to just make their own living, like playing Rocket League, being a content creator and being a spokesperson. And right now, it feels like they're about to start losing those people. Because I'm seeing a ton of people that they just, not a ton, but I have been seeing, people who don't even want to pick up the game anymore. And then, like, they're probably, I would say in that time frame, it's going to be what it was this past year of these content creator tournaments of like the draw, things like that. But I would be shocked if those people even want to keep doing that because they have to have support for that. And I would be curious to talk to Rizzo and figure out how much if he profited at all from running that stuff and like what the balance sheet came out to, or if he just like broke even. So,
I mean, he had to get sponsors, right? Like, what else? What other income streams are there for that? I don't even know.
It's sponsorships. That's it. Probably people who subscribe, but you're talking about
That's right. Like
there's multiple people streaming,
stuff.
so like it's not like he's going to Wolf. I could not imagine Dylan going to Wolfie because Wolfie did some of those draws and being like, "Hey, I need some of your your profits that you got." Like that would just be wild. Can I also say I'm a little bit offended that you live in the state of Arizona and you're wearing a sweatshirt right now?
It got chilly.
I have snow on the ground.
Yeah. I mean, the state of Arizona actually does have snow as well.
But not where you are.
Not where I am. I was just there though a couple days ago, and I'm still warming up.
Oh, come on. That's a little.
Listen, it gets in the 40s. I mean, at nighttime, that's not like hot.
It's hot. Yes, it is. Okay, I mean, yeah. For me, that would be hot.
Right now, it's 54.
Oh my gosh.
It's gonna get down in the high 30s.
Yeah,
that's chilly.
I'm in the 20s right now.
Yeah, that's cold, but it's chilly.
Yeah, this is cold. That is not cold.
Wear sweatshirts. I got like a 3-week window to wear sweatshirts. I got a 3-week window to put the sunroof down. I got a 3-week window for like everything, and then you're just dead.
I do remember that when I was growing up there. It was like 3 weeks of, I can pull a hoodie out and not look like a crazy person.
That's right.
And
even then, you go out at 1 p.m. and you're like, ugh, what am I doing?
Yeah, when it's 100 degrees at midnight.
Yeah.
But getting back to the structure of everything, another big thing that it caught everybody's attention is how many teams qualify for Worlds, and it's 4 from NA, 4 from EU, 2 from MENA, 2 from Oceania, 2 from SAM, 1 from APAC, and 1 from SSA. So kudos to SSA for getting their spot. I actually do like that.
SSA. I haven't even really checked Graybeard's Twitter since that. Did he get excited, or does he not want to throw a party because everything else is still
he's not ready to throw a party just yet.
What a big advocate for that region, and I would totally think that without people like that, they might have never got.
Correct. I 100% agree. Yeah, if he has been advocating for them so much and is really about building up that region and is a great person for them. But looking at that, so if we go back and look at the last Worlds, EU had 1, 2, 3, 4.
If you can count.
They had 4 teams that auto seeded into group stage. NA had 2, Sam had 1, Mina had 1. And then in the wild card, there were 3 additional NAs, so that's 5, and 1, 2, 3 additional EUs. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. That's 7 in EU teams. So looking at this, it would literally be, if we took last year's rankings and put them into this one, it would be Gen G, FaZe, Complexity, G2, and then Carmine, Liquid, Vitality, and BDS. So you wouldn't have had Moist there. You wouldn't have had Oxygen. No G1. The 2 OCE teams, right? OCE gets 2. Yep, OCE gets 2. So that would have been Pioneers and Power. Sam gets 2. And that would have been Crew and Secret. APAC got 1, so it would have been Elevate. And then Mina would have only added Falcons. Twisted Minds wouldn't have made it there. Which Twisted Minds actually didn't. No, they didn't make it out of group stage, right? No, they did. Yeah. 7th. And that would have put them. Where were they at?
I don't know. I blacked out. So you're basically saying
Oh, they're here. Okay, so
there's
they lost
plenty
them.
of teams that did well that may not have made it had this happened. But this is the breaks, man. They're not going to expand more teams, although that would have been an option. But they went this other way. Let's get these other teams in there. But if we see things like SSA, APAC, SAM, OCE, Mina falter and flop, which hasn't historically been the case, APAC, then maybe you reconsider. But I think this is fair. I know there's more teams in North America and Europe and a lot more better players, but you get 4 spots. Everyone else only gets 2 or 1.
What was it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 12. 12 teams, 4, 8, 10, 12, 14. So 16 teams. 16 teams is all it's going.
Will it be possible to watch all the regions you want to in a weekend? Because here's what I'm thinking. Well, I mean, they're going to have, Europe's not going to play at the same time North America is because they're on different time zones, right? It's going to be a completely different time they play. They're not going to try to appease us with their time and play at noon.
You're right.
They're going to be playing at like 4 in the morning.
Correct.
But so it will be possible. But what I'm saying is North American fan base, European fan base are going to watch their teams, and then they're going to go to these majors and root for them even more than they ever have. We won't even be able to have. I mean, the hardcore fan can go back and watch VODs and get a sense of everything. But for the most part, the live stuff is probably more watched, I would say. Or is it, do you think I'm wrong? Am I way wrong? Do people go watch the VODs more? I guess I'd have to do some research.
I think you're going to have a drop in viewership for what like the RLCS weekends were, because you won't have your people that sit there. Actually, you know what? I can see where you're going with that, because even when it was split, like NA this week, EU next week, if you were going to watch, you were going to watch. But
you can watch the VODs.
I'm really torn on that. I don't know. I see where you're going with that, and will that really make a viewership difference? Probably not. People will probably, who watch NA will watch NA, and then people who watch EU will watch EU. I think the thing that hurts everybody right now.
So it's like Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So Open Qualifier 1, the first set, double elimination, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Then Open Qualifier 1, Swiss and single elimination, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And then they do that over and over and over and over and over. And then you get to a major. So that's in a weekend. So in a weekend, I could watch most of, or somewhat, the region you're in, and then you can throughout the week go watch the games maybe, or the teams that you wanted to watch. But they're gonna have to make it. All those teams are gonna have to have their own broadcast.
Right. And I think that's where I was going to next is where will there be the people to watch it? Of course. Is it going to be actually digestible like what we were wanting them to go to? I don't think so, because now you still have the same problem that there was before, which is I always take my one buddy into account. He would go look at the weekend and be like, oh, yeah, there's RLCS this weekend. There's competitive play. Where do I go watch it? And I'm like, well, the first day you got to look through X, Y, and Z to go find it. And he was like, I don't got time for that. I just want to be able to click somewhere and I go and watch competitive Rocket League.
I knew you only had one buddy.
I do. I only have one, and it's not you.
One buddy.
Yeah, my one buddy. So it didn't become more digestible. I would say it's about the same. We didn't go negative. We kind of equaled out when it comes to that.
Yeah.
But some of the more recent news that we haven't talked about, which has been coming out over the last couple of days.
Wait.
What's that?
Real quick.
Yep.
Let's take a little bit of let's do something. Everybody has an opinion, right, of all these changes. The format changes, how many tournaments there are, what the format of each of those tournaments is, who qualifies, how many teams from each region qualify, the prize distribution, the minimum age, what else? The scheduling, and whatever else we talked about. Everyone's got an opinion, none of which I've heard are fairly positive. But do you think one of these things is going to be like, man, I'm so glad they did that? And everyone's going to choose. Everyone's going to decide that, right? Everyone's going to go, wow, this is so much better than it was before. Maybe not everything, maybe not a lot of things, but is there something that sticks out to you?
There isn't right now. I can't think of one thing that makes me want to go, ooh, yeah, like this is gonna be for the better. It's gonna be something that we actually want to see. I think it's gonna be a drawn out season of, oh yeah, kind of the same thing. We'll see how play goes. The only way that would make it, I think, interesting is if we do see like a queso run. Some group that comes out of nowhere that you wouldn't have thought of that is just going to beat up on everybody because it is an open qualifier. That knocks out. It's going to be that situation where a no-name team knocks out a top-name team.
Wait, this is an open qualifier, not a standardized league?
You're screwing with me now.
No, that would be fun. I agree. I was just curious.
That would be the only thing that actually makes it, I think, worth it in the end. Because that will get us our storyline.
Yeah, which we need. And that's one thing that we usually talk about that we haven't talked about is creating storylines, right? Like creating those rivalries or storied memories or build-ups or whatever. Like they haven't been able to create those things. We've kind of self-created them, or the players have had to create them in some way or the other, or whatever. So that's interesting. None of that kind of speaks to that part of passion of sports and watching or video games. And I remember saying at the beginning, I really like the fact that they're going to have this change for every single open qualifier is going to be the same format. Every tournament, open, double limb, Swiss stage, single limb. But now I'm starting to think the same teams are going to be in each of these formats, right?
Right.
So 200 or 500 teams all doing a double elimination. Then they're going to get down to 16. Now those 16 teams we're going to see over and over and over again in the Swiss system, but never those other 500 teams that tried to make it. They'll never have a chance to play the Swiss system. And then those teams go down to top 8, and maybe we're going to see 6 or 7 of the same teams over and over and over getting into the single elimination. So it could get a little bit repetitive in that regard.
And that's what makes you wonder, why are we not just going to an actual league? If we're going to keep seeing these same teams, right? If we end up proving that what is the cream of the crop is the cream of the crop, and that is who is going to be the best players, then why are we not just creating a league where you have to work your way in? Again, utilizing CRL. That still hasn't had an announcement yet, which has a lot of people worried of what is the CRL season going to look like. But you have a feeder system, use it. Actually make it to where you can build something. But it goes back to what I said before. I don't think Epic wants people building a career, banking a career off of playing a competitive video game. They want you just come play a tournament and enjoy. If you stay good enough, then you can compete for higher prizes. But this is not a long-term thing. I don't think they want to see like the Turbos, the Garretts. They just want to run it and have fun with it, and that's it. Not actually turn it into anything. Because it's probably scary for them. When it comes to their balance sheet, when it comes to just politics and a lot of other things you got to manage, like I can see where they're turned off on wanting to create a league. But then do we all say it was a pipe dream and move on? Because right now we're seeing a lot of the people who were instrumental in being the voices of RLCS that kept us tuned in and provided some fantastic entertainment. One by one, they're saying, as of now, I have not been reached out to cast for Rocket League for the upcoming RLCS season, which is, I don't know, a week away. Like, are we serious about this right now? Literally, the people who have done some of the best entertainment for us for Rocket League.
Give them a break.
Do what?
2 weeks. Week and a half.
That's a week at this point.
Give them a break. No, I agree. That was a really good segue, by the way. I don't think I gave you enough credit for that sometimes.
Thank you.
But that one was really intriguing. I still can't wrap my head around this. No one on Twitter has anything good to say. Not that I could ever say that. Ooh, look at all the good things people are saying on X. Like, look how positive it is. I don't know if that's ever been the case, but it's extremely one-sided here that this makes zero sense.
Correct. So as of this moment, official statements from Jorby, Subi, Turtle, Achieves, Corelli, and Spaceman, they have come out and said that they have not been approached to cast for the upcoming RLCS. And then I'll add with this, it's a tweet from Lethamir saying even with the casters that still remain, they have no idea what they're going to be involved with in RLCS. And it's a DM that he has with somebody. The names are scratched out. You can't see who it is, but he says, "Hey, so I see there's a final qualifier weekend on the blank of blank. Are you going to be involved in the event?" And that person responds with, "I would love to know the answer to that question. Believe me." And it's very baffling at this point that a professional corporation, I'm going to put professional in quotes at this point, they cannot figure out how to even get stuff scheduled properly. It goes back to something that we talked to Greg about when we had him on. And I asked,
Raw Greg, baby, shout out.
I asked, is there a president of RLCS? Like your Gruden, your MLB commissioner. Is there a commissioner of RLCS? He's like, yeah. You guys didn't know that? Nope. Sure didn't. Sure haven't heard from one. But at this point, it's very frustrating because it feels like all the way up there at the top, or I won't even say at the top. It just feels like there's no seriousness in actually continuing competitive Rocket League. It's just sitting by the wayside. Let's just keep running some tournaments and see how long it goes before it dies out, is what it feels like at this point.
Listen, there's two sides to that story. It's possible, again, it's very possible that this isn't the worst thing that ever happened in the history of Rocket League, and it could really mean that there's new, fresh blood being pumped into it. It could be, but that's not even the point here. Right?
What's the point?
The point is that they're not telling anyone anything, and these people's livelihoods and what they've expected and come to understand, and how that these things happen. Like, oh, there's announcements. Oh, I'm going to be starting work soon or whatever. Like, they could have turned things down or all. There's a lot of moving parts here, and they involve people.
Right.
And before, it was a game and getting things going, and that involved people, but at a high. It all really involves people, and they're not talking about that. That's ignorant and inexcusable on a lot of levels. Like, it's one thing to just all these guys like, hey guys, we've enjoyed you. Thank you. We'll give you your due. Let's have some elegant way out. We give you a heads up. It's another way to just not tell them anything at all.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous.
To not even tell them that, hey, you're not going to be a part of this season. We appreciate everything you have done, but we're moving on. Like, hey, at least tell them something so they know what to go adjust, like change course to, instead of them, sitting here hanging on, wondering, am I going to be a part of it? Do I get to, help keep it going? So. Yeah, the fear right now is that you're going to get a bunch of Fortnite casters who I won't say that they don't have experience in Rocket League. We don't know, but we don't know them. There is a whole crew there that we actually know and can tune in to see. Yeah,
I've got some favorites for sure, and some people that I was even bummed out when they weren't able to make it to the live majors we went to. I can't imagine just them not being a part of it. But that's, again, like a moot point when it comes to the way that this whole thing is transpired. That's just ignorant.
From what we saw and what we thought it was going to be, we're not even close to that. We've taken, usually I would say we've taken a step back. I feel like they've taken 5 steps back. And right now they have a lot to make up for when it goes forward. I was at a point of, Devin and those guys, we're beating up on them too much. They're short-staffed. But at this point, no. You guys are, and I just say Devin because that's the only name that, we all know because he was the community manager for so long. But yeah, at this point, you're failing. You're just failing. There's no ands, ifs, or buts around it. You're just failing people left and right. Jorby, I was not offered a spot to start for the start of the RLCS. I don't know how to process this or what this means for me. I'll tweet again later. At this point, if I'm an org, I don't want to be involved in what you're doing. It is not a good brand thing at all. You aren't showing anything that is worth it to my brand. And with the prize pools being cut, so that means that there's less money coming in. I could see this turning into, in the next year, all orgs are out, and you're just playing a big open qualifier tournament that kind of gets casted from time to time.
Yeah, that's what obviously a lot of the podcasts that you guys hear this week, and we'll go in and dive into some of them, are gonna echo a lot of these sentiments. But Chalkcast posted just a couple hours ago, so that's Rizzo, right? And he has CJ, apparently Jack, and Johnny Boy on his team, and the tweet, what do you call it if it's not a tweet? Is it still a tweet?
It's still a
It's not Twitter.
tweet. They haven't come up with anything new yet.
With the
it's
changes
an
to
X.
major slot allocations in NAEU, Zanil and apparently Jack are concerned that orgs will begin to lose interest and drop out of Rocket League. So these are people like that have a pulse too, right, into what's going on. But also, this is the sentiment, like, you don't want this negativity around your business.
No, not at all.
I can't wrap my head around it. The lack of transparency and openness is really going to be the down. And I always gave them the benefit of the doubt. You know that. I always have said, hey man, maybe they got this. Here's what I think. Here's what I've seen in these kind of situations. But it's just, there's too many holes here. It's death by 1,000 paper cuts.
Right. It's very frustrating. So we are to the point of that we're waiting for teams to get announced. Who are going to be the teams? I think signups open up tomorrow, which at that point, hopefully there is a rule book so we can see what the rule book is. I'm pretty sure they'll just port over a lot of stuff from the past RLCS. But yeah, it's a frustrating time in the Rocket League competitive community right now. I can see why, like, a lot of these players that have been living it big, I think the writing's on the wall right now. Right now, it's saying, "Get out while you can." Oh, Mr. Brent Davis, how you doing, buddy? But yeah, get out while you can.
I'm announcing everyone that
Just
comes in.
there you go. And make sure that you have a soft landing, because that's my fear right now, is that there's gonna be hard landings for certain players who got used to a certain standard of living, the way things came in. It's gonna take just one time when that one big team gets popped out early in an open qualifier, and now they have no revenue coming in. So, yeah. If there was anything that I would take away from this show, I think it's my statement of, they have basically said that they do not want, to me, they are saying, this is not a career. This is a side hustle. Do not make this a career.
Mr. Jim Halpert. Mr. Yeah, that's a great scene.
That is a great scene from The Office.
They really did save that season, by the way. Without Michael. We're talking to viewers that come in and chat. If you ever want to come in and chat, we were on Twitter. We were on Twitch. We had fun, but we have a lot of interactions on X here on Twitter, so it's really a lot more fun to come over here. But
it's something new.
We'll see how it goes.
We'll try some. Yeah, we figure we just try something new. See how much interaction we could get. Craig's Microwave coming in saying that is the way it's going. There won't be RLCS in the future. It's just going to be another game.
Yeah, make them go back and listen to the full podcast if they want answers to these things. We talked about all of this already. Is it a league? It's in there a couple times. You'll be surprised at the answer, by the way. And also, there are references to your question throughout the episode. But yeah, go back and listen. That's your jobs today. If you haven't subscribed on Spotify, do it. I mean, it's not that hard. Press a button. Support your friends. Good Lord.
Yeah, support your friends. Please and thank you.
Sick. What were you going to say? Sorry.
He feels.
I'm angry now. This whole conversation has made me angry.
And I'd been looking forward to this conversation, but I also had not, because I was hoping to have something positive to say about Epic and Psyonix. And right now, I can't find it at all. The content creators are hurting. They are struggling to figure out what to even do for content creation nowadays. So all we were hanging on to at this point was RLCS. And now you're starting to hurt the pros who and all of our opinions have really helped keep this alive and going, and have given us great entertainment over the last couple of years. And yeah, you're scaring us right now. We don't feel like the future is hopeful, but I feel like you tie it back to the way the economy looks right now as a whole. It makes sense. I think we went through the golden age of money coming in, all the COVID money and all that, and
You're a nerd.
and everybody was spend happy. I know you look at this too. You're just not saying it. Yeah, Davis. No, Isaac. Turtle is not there anymore. Go back and listen to the episode.
Nerd.
But I know you watch this stuff too, and you can't disagree with me on that. That's not a major factor right now.
Yeah, but it seems like they're taking steps backwards, and that's never good. I mean, you just go on Twitter if you have any feed for any content creation at all. Like, I'm seeing content creators that are new, been here for a while, kind of middle game, all thinking exit strategy. What am I doing? Do I have to try and pivot games? Am I on a sinking ship? Like, these things are all just floating around, and that's if I was working somewhere, or if I was making money at a company or whatever, and that was what was going around, like, that's just going to keep bringing it down. It's just going to eat itself. It's a cancer, and they've created this cancer, and we've talked about it for a long time, and how they could avoid these things or how they could make it better. And I don't know if they're taking the right steps, but everyone seems to think no, they're not. So is everybody wrong?
Time will tell.
Yeah, and maybe not a lot of time.
Well, I think that's going to do it for this episode. I can't make any promises, but I think I'm going to try and reach out to Greg and see if he will come and chat with us next week, leading up to the first Open Qualifier.
Raw Greg!
Raw Greg. Yeah. Davis, go, like, seriously listen to it, because I touched on that as well. That definitely does seem to be the question. Well, thank you all for everybody that tuned into the inaugural X stream. We will continue to do it here from now on until we prove otherwise. But in the meantime, have a good one, and please enjoy this ad.
I just found a fun and easy way to make money beating other players in Rocket League. Game Wagers is this new app where you play your favorite online game and you could challenge your friends or other players to a 1v1 wager. The Game Wagers app acts like a digital referee. Not only does the app keep track of the winner and the loser of each match, it verifies the winner of each 1v1 wager. That means the winner gets paid and the loser gets good. No more live streams needed, no more VODs required. Let the app worry about all that, and you could focus on beating your opponent and making some money. Sign up at GameWagers.com, download the Overwolf app, link your PayPal account, and start making money.